The grill is shot. The chairs are held together by optimism. And what happened to the rug? Sounds like your outdoor setup is not ready for patio season. Fix it all with Wayfair. Shop Wayfair for grills, rugs, furniture, and more. With 20 million 5-star reviews, room of choice delivery, and expert setup on qualifying orders, it's never been easier to do more for less. Get 10% off your first eligible purchase. Hurry to wayfair.com or download the app now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined now by Stephen Ellis, NHL Draft and Prospects Analyst for the Daily Faceoff. The NHL Draft coming up Friday and Saturday. Stephen, good morning.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Well, that'll be largely dependent on what you say right here. You control our mood. Okay, that's overstated. No one believes that. We're doing well, but we are curious here. With this draft coming up, the Mammoth are getting better, and they made it to the playoffs, so they've had this run of super high draft picks and a chance to get these impact guys. Where they're drafting now, what should the expectations be? How good a player can they get?
I think when you're looking at that 19th pick, you're hoping to get a guy that's, at best, a top 6 player. If you're getting a forward there, you might get a defenseman who can go out there and be a good shutdown, second or third pairing guy. I think we know that Utah likes to draft big guys. We know that's kind of something that they typically have done. They've got, the reason why they're called Utah Mammoth is because they draft mammoth-sized people. But I think when you look at what's going to be available around that pick, you might get a Maxim Sokolovsky, who's 6'8". You might get a Adam Novotny, who's built like a tank. There's going to be some good players there. So it's going to be a different situation to last year's draft, or last two, I should say, where you went out and got a high-impact forward. You're probably not getting a guy that's anywhere close to that, but you're getting someone who might be a really good support player. And, at 19, you're probably happy with that.
Reading a bunch of different mock drafts, I saw one that said that they need a true power play quarterback. What the heck is that?
So that's a guy that basically, on the power play, he's a defenseman. It's a guy that's basically the one kind of leading the show, the one who's passing the puck everywhere, kind of distributing the plays. He's kind of controlling the pace there. And, a guy like Matthew Schaefer of the Islanders, Cale Makar, Colorado Avalanche, Quinn Hughes in the Minnesota Wild, basically guys that are going to play a ton of minutes and kind of control everything. That's going to be pretty hard to do at, number 19, but you're going to probably get a guy that you hope can at least impact the power play in some way.
When you list needs, how do you prioritize them for the Mammoth? Or is that just nothing they can worry about now, best player available on the board, who cares?
I think they've got one of the best pipelines. They've got one of the best prospect pools in the NHL, top 5-ish, I'd say. And I think that's something where they've got a lot of strength there. And I don't think they necessarily need to go out there and draft another 6'7" guy. I think they can go out there and try and find someone who plays with a bit more skill. A guy like Adam Novotny, who, watching with the World Juniors in Czechia, he didn't score a goal, but my God, it felt like he was trying harder than anybody else out there. He had the most shot generations out of anybody on the Czechs, who ended up coming in second place in that tournament. So he'd be very interesting. Maybe you go and get a guy like Elton Hermansen, who was dominant with Sweden the last 2 years internationally, might be one of the more pure skilled forwards in this draft. I think in general, this is a team that could add a bit more skill, maybe play in that top 6 and be impactful up front offensively, and maybe not draft someone who's out there to just take space up and just kill everybody out there.
Do you see a possibility of any type of trades, because you speak of these assets that they have and they could possibly move up if they wanted to?
When it comes to trades in the first round, I always am very hesitant. This is not like the NFL. This is not like the NBA. We don't typically see a ton of trades in the first round. Having said that, we did see Florida. We did see Ottawa trade a couple first-round picks a few days ago in a pretty big deal with Brady Tkachuk, but that's not the norm. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what teams think. I will say this year's draft, after pick about 10, that's where the talent starts to really fall off a little bit. And that's something where, if you can get a guy who could help you immediately in the 19th pick is, one of the key parts of that trade. I think got to look at it there. But I feel like this is one where it feels like they're going to keep their pick at 19 just because, the trade market's not that great right now. I don't think there's a ton of guys you get super excited about. And I think maybe you worry about trading those guys later down the line.
Do teams invest in goaltenders the same way? Looking at mock drafts, I'm seeing no goalies picked until somewhere down in the 30s. What is the general league-wide attitude, and how much does it vary from team to team as far as developing goaltending?
Well, like I'm a goalie myself. I think I should be drafted first overall. That's what I would say. I'm a little too old for the draft, but I think I would be that. But in general, goalies are the hardest position to really kind of figure out. Like there was a time where goalies actually went first overall quite often. Like you look at guys like Rick DiPietro and Roberto Luongo. Rick DiPietro, it didn't work at all out for the Islanders. They ended up signing to a 15-year deal, and they bought him out a few years later because he wasn't that good. So there's a lot of risk with goaltenders because there are very few true star caliber goalies. Now, that being said, there are some teams that you could look at later in that first round that don't have a ton of picks in the draft and might just look to acquire or to draft a goalie anyways and say, you know what, we've got a bunch of different, positional strengths already. Let's go and try and find one of the better goalies available. My guess is we're going to see about 3 or 4 goalies taken in the second round. And on the third and fourth, we're going to see a lot of goalies. Like there are typically around, 20 goalies drafted every year, but none in the top couple rounds because goalies take 4 or 5 years to really develop, and teams drafting high would rather pick a guy who could be available quicker. And with goalies, just sometimes, things like playing time could be difficult to come by at the lower levels. They aren't playing every single game, so it's harder. So teams don't typically like to draft goalies early because there's just a lot more a risk associated with it. So I wouldn't expect to see any taken in the first round this year.
If what I hear is correct, you would take yourself over Gavin McKenna?
Well, yeah, I think, when you look at Gavin McKenna, I haven't seen him get into any goalie fights recently. I have, I think there's that. I did get 22 penalty minutes in one game. So like if you need to add some toughness, I could definitely do it.
Wow.
And, I hope the scouts are just not looking at my recent results, a couple of tougher games. But I have 4 games for myself scheduled on Thursday, but that's the night, like I'm in Buffalo. I'm going to miss it all, but that's the time where scouts will finally see that I'm the right choice for number.
Do you view McKenna as the obvious number one?
Yeah, I think McKenna's for sure the number one. In my opinion, he's so skilled, so smart. This is a guy I've been watching for 4 or 5 years at this point. And I think a lot of people made a big stink kind of about how his first half of college hockey was. And yeah, he wasn't that great, but he's playing 21 minutes a night as, a 17 turned 18-year-old guy in a program at Penn State that just didn't have a ton of scoring depth. And the fact that he looked as good as he did, I think is actually quite impressive. And that's the kind of guy that Toronto needs, someone who's skilled, who can set up a guy like Austin Matthews and try to create long-term damage there. But I will also point out that, Austin Matthews needed a playmaking winger. They just got rid of one in Mitch Marner. He had a pretty good run with the Vegas Golden Knights this year. McKenna's not as rounded as Mitch Marner, so we'll see what happens. But from a pure skill perspective, he's the best player in the draft.
Obviously, the Mammoth not drafting as high this year, and it'll take some time. But the other guys who've been picked higher, who have been in the pipeline for a while now, who do you think is about ready to join the Mammoth, and who do you think will have the most impact when they do join, even if they're not the next one up?
So you look at a guy like T.J. Ginla, and he was the best player in junior hockey this year. He didn't win any major awards, but like if I was voting on the WHL MVP, he would have been my pick because he was that good this year. You look at a guy like Cole Baudouin, outstanding regular season, was dominant in the playoffs. Great. Now, like Barry was nowhere as strong when he wasn't playing out there. Caleb Denoyer was picked in the top 5 last year of the draft. Very productive in Moncton this year. Very fun team. Gabe Smith was kind of one of the guys he played with, and he was outstanding there too. So you got the Russians in Simashev and Daniil Boot that are interesting. And then I wasn't a big fan for a while on Michael Arabel, the goaltender. He's massive, but I think when you look at what he was able to do this year in college and then a pretty impressive run to finish the year in the AHL, I think he's maybe Utah's goalie of the future. So like this is a strong pipeline. You've got a lot of high-end talents there. Iginla's the guy that I think is going to be the one selling all the jerseys, the one that's going to be so exciting. His dad, Jerome Iginla, NHL legend, but Tej, aggressive forward, strong, good shot. He's a fan favorite. So he's a guy that's going to be really fun to watch. And I think he should be in the lineup next year.
Yeah, okay, so we got that. We got a timeline for him, and people are talking about him and anticipating that. When you draft as low as they're drafting, what would be your timeline for a player to be able to make his mark with the Mammoth?
I think it really kind of depends on who they take. Like if they take a guy like Novotny, who I really like, I feel like that's one where probably 2 years from now, you're looking at him trying to make the roster. Guy like, Oscar Hemming, maybe he spends one more year in college and then you look at him. I think the bigger, more physically mature players are the ones that typically transition to the NHL a little bit better than a smaller skilled guy. But you might not get like a guy like Oscar Hemming might not be as talented as Elton Hermanson. Do you want to pass on that pure skill, a guy who can maybe be a top line player, or do you want to have a guy like Hemming where he's a bit more of an all-around player, two-way guy, big 6'4" frame? So it really depends on the type of guy, but realistically, we're looking 2 to 3 years most likely for these type of players.
You mentioned going for size, and you mentioned a 6'8" prospect. Maverick Lamoureux was up, and he is just standing next to that guy in the locker room. He is just massive. At what point, his size is great, but also the center of gravity changes, and that can be a problem. So what is the max height for a really good NHL player?
It's very interesting because you look at like this year, there's actually a guy who's 7'1" from Moldova who's going to get drafted, Alexander Karmanov. Probably the worst skater I've ever seen, but you could probably find some like 13-year-olds who could just skate. Actually, I shouldn't say 13, probably 8-year-olds who could outskate him, but he's 7'1". Like, try it. You look at the tallest guys of all time in the NHL, and someone like Zdeno Chara at 6'9", he's got that size. He was one of the best defensemen of his era. Then you look at Curtis Douglas, a forward, also 6'9", not quick. He's more of a tough guy. I think you're looking at like that sweet spot almost being like 6'3", 6'4", because usually those guys are still light enough to be able to skate, but strong enough to be more of a physical player. Anything after that, like Tage Thompson is 6'7", but he's kind of like a physical anomaly. He's not normal. Like, you're not going to find guys like that. So, a guy like Daniel Boot being 6'5", it's interesting to kind of see what happens. But when it comes to defensemen in particular, you typically want these guys who've got that size because they take up that space and they're tough to push around. That being said, I think a lot of smaller defensemen are taking over, like Lane Hudson, Matthew Schaefer. Neither of those guys are that big, and they're two of the most skilled guys in the NHL. And I think you kind of have to find the right mix. Defensemen are starting to get a little smaller. I say that knowing not a single defenseman under 6 foot was drafted last year, but centers are also getting bigger. Kind of in contrast, we're seeing a lot of teams that are taking 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" centers. It feels though like the sweet spot of like perfect size is like 6'3", 6'4".
Stepping away from the draft, what do you think the team needs to improve upon to be able to do better than it did last year? Because all about last year was getting to the playoff. That was the stated goal, and they got there. Well, all right, now you got to up the ante a little bit here.
I think you just got to look at, the game-to-game consistency out there, make sure that, like obviously Clayton Keller having the season he did was great. Like, can Nick Schmaltz continue to be this high-impact guy? He was a fantasy gold mine for so long. Getting a guy like J.J. Peterka to maybe become a 50, 55-point guy would be big. Logan Cooley missing as much time as he did obviously didn't help. So I think you're just kind of looking for those guys to just continue to be, more offensively minded there. Yeah, you got to get that consistent goaltending. Obviously, if they'll make you look at the near 40 wins workhorse guy, you probably want to have a backup goalie you can really rely on, though. A guy that can go out there and win games, because you look at the difference in the stats between him and Vitek Vanacek, and Vanacek often didn't look like an NHL goalie out there. So I think finding that right backup goalie will be interesting, but then also just making sure everyone could stay healthy. Another year, Mackenzie Weegar is going to be nice. And I like what we've seen out of guys like Cooley and Keller. You just got to get that game-to-game consistency so you're tougher to play against.
Stephen Ellis joined us, NHL Draft and Prospects Analyst for the Daily Faceoff. There's a couple different age groups on this mammoth roster. You've got guys like Keller and Sergachev. They're in their prime. And that kind of suggests that maybe they should move some of these prospects and go all in and get a group that can win here in the next 2-3 years. But also, Cooley and Gunther are young, and with all these prospects is an argument for, hey, do the best you can the next 2-3 years, but don't short-circuit the future, because Gunther and Cooley are young enough, and how many of these prospects are going to pay off, that's the real sweet spot for the organization. Which timeline do you like? Where would you push your chips?
I think, you're looking like Sergachev's 27, Keller's 27, right? Like, those guys are interesting. Jersey's 27. You got McBain, Hayden, that 26 age, Peterka 24, Gunther. Like, I feel like this is something where you could probably look at this and say, like, maybe 3 years until they're really ready to go. Because I think when you also look at what this team was before moving to Utah. Like Bill Armstrong had like no money to work with. This was a team that was so financially cap strapped. They're still having to work hard to like prove to players around the NHL, like, hey, like this is a team you want to come join and be very effective. And I feel like Armstrong's done a very good job so far, but I still think we're talking a few more years, like 3-4 years, like a Ginla, when he's kind of really hitting his stride. That's where things are going to get really interesting for this team. So I wouldn't kind of sell the farm here, but I think their core has still got a couple years where you could say like, okay, 30, like let's say when Sergei's 30, like maybe still play some really good hockey until he's 33, 34. That's kind of what you're banking on there. He won't get better in his 30s. That just typically doesn't happen, but I think it's still something where, 2 to 3 years is kind of what you're looking at and saying that's when you want to be very competitive. And they've got time to make some trades. You asked about what if they traded that first round pick. Like I think there's still a good argument for it, but it's got to be for the right price and the right pick. And it's not sure who on the market would be worth kind of moving a first round pick for right now.
All right, so you've got 4 games Thursday, 22 penalty minutes, your career high. We didn't ask you about signability though. Always a factor.
Just give me some good. I don't know. Anywhere I can go watch NASCAR easily. So anywhere I can go watch some racing in my free time is kind of the way I'd go. It's just that make it easy to sign. I'll play anywhere as long as you're just willing to let me spend the weekends off and do what I feel like doing.
Okay, there's Stephen Ellis, NHL drafted prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff. Stephen, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right. No cash, just needs a race day off for NASCAR. There you go. So put that in the bank.
You can get that anywhere, can't you?
If they're willing to work with you, PK, if they're willing to work with you. When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us. The Giannis trade, commitments for the Utes and the Cougars. It's all on the way. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Joining us now, he is the athletic director of Brigham Young University, Brian Santiago. AJ DeBonsa comes in, and what a big get it was for BYU. But did that exceed your expectations, not just on the court, but how he embraced the community and the community embraced him?
AJ's remarkable from day one, all in for BYU. The one thing about this draft is I hope in the worst way he goes number 1, because I know that's his dream. I know that he's put in so much to put himself in a position to be the number 1 pick in the draft. One thing that I do have a lot of confidence in, and Danny Ainge, he's the best in the business, so is Austin. They got it. They'll figure it out, and they'll do what's right for that franchise. It's going to be super interesting to see how it works out. I'm one that's pulling hard for him to be the number 1 pick, even though I'd love if he ended up in Utah.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Red Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN-1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. The Giannis trade is in the books, PK. Did Miami win? Did Milwaukee win? Did Portland win? Who's the big winner as Giannis and Bobby Portis go to Miami? And the Bucks get 4 players led by Tyler Hero and Jaime Jaquez Jr., and 3 first-round draft picks, including the number 13 pick tonight.
Tonight.
And they also have a pick swap in addition to those 3 first-round picks.
That doesn't really move me that much.
Yeah. Now with Milwaukee in a rebuild, and they've shipped some picks away to Portland. Maybe Portland gets higher draft picks out of this. It helps the Blazers. That'd be how Portland comes out the winner in this.
Well, you can get all the draft picks you want, but you got to draft the right player.
And with the new flattened odds, we have no idea where those picks are going to land.
Right.
Players getting money. Trae Young expected to sign a 4-year, $212 million Supermax extension with the Washington Wizards. Does that mean the Wizards aren't going to draft Peterson? Do you want a bigger player to go with smaller Young?
Well, listening to some NBA player analysts, ex-NBA player analysts talking about that actually would lead them to believe that they would draft Peterson because you need someone to be able to handle off the ball, on the ball, that type of thing.
Play him as the 2 guard, but let him defend the point, if necessary.
Yeah. And I think Peterson can move around and do a lot of different things for you.
He was asked about that and hesitated and then said he sees himself as a combo guard. He's going to run the show at times. He can play off the ball at times, so whatever.
That's the way I see him. Yeah, I think that's a reality, is that he has the ability to just move. And when you can move and shoot like he can,
then you got
the
some flexibility.
floor is where you're going to be. And depending on the situation in the given play, this kid can go wherever you need him to go. I mean, he's highly skilled. He's smooth, man. He's smooth. So I don't think that the Trae Young thing eliminates it, and I'm not sure that it promotes that, okay, we got to go Peterson, because I think that they're not being as familiar with their roster and Anthony Davis and his health and blah, blah, blah. What they need, they need just talent, and whatever they think is, or whoever they think is the most talented, that's who they take, and then go from there. I mean, they got a lot of questions to be answered, and they've got some young guys too. I mean, they've had some high draft picks.
Minnesota Timberwolves traded Julius Randle to the Brooklyn Nets in a 3-team deal that sends center Nick Claxton to Chicago, and the Nets add the 28th pick tonight. The 33rd pick goes to Minnesota. Minnesota gets a little cap room, and they turn around and sign emerging guard Ayo Dosunmu on a 5-year, $112 million extension. Minnesota, are they officially stuck in the middle in the West?
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's a good team, but can they make that jump to a better team? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But they're a good team.
They are good. But it's the stuck in the middle scenario where you're the third, fourth, or fifth best team in the West.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the third team, you're not in the middle, but I get your point. You're
stuck in the upper middle.
You're not necessarily a threat to go to the NBA Finals.
Right.
And they've been in the postseason. They've had success in the postseason.
And they've been to the conference final.
They run up against it each time.
Right. They've been to the conference final.
But you can argue, Anthony Edwards is still a youngster.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's been very good. And maybe he's an all-time player who can carry you a little bit more as he continues to develop.
Get older, get more mature, get more playoff experience. And they keep tinkering with the roster around
he's
him.
really good.
Right.
I mean, you'd love to have him on your team for sure. So maybe that's what they're thinking, that, okay, he just gets better and the players around him fit in a little bit more, and away you go. It's not hopeless. It's just that I wouldn't put them as close to the favorite.
You'd rather be Miami in the East with no draft picks, but people want to play in Miami?
I think that's overblown.
Do people want to play in Miami?
Yeah.
They want the biggest paycheck?
Yeah.
Now, if the paychecks are even, now Miami will matter. Playing with Giannis could matter. People want to play with stars.
Right, but that's not Miami. That's Giannis.
Right. But they can now sell both those things. We've got a star. It's Miami.
I just don't think guys care about that much. Miami's, and people aren't flocking to Miami. Players. I mean, create your own mark wherever you are. The stage is big enough no matter where you are. And if I want people who want to play in Miami,
then you wonder if they're really into the winning.
Yeah.
If they're really, once you're inside the gym, what does it matter where the gym is?
Unless you're 35 years old and you got kids there or whatever,
Yeah.
or whatever it might be, but not just when you say Miami, you think of nightlife and stuff. I'm not interested in nightlife.
Too much nightlife will impact the playing ability.
Yeah.
College football. Here come commitments. 3 for BYU, 2 for Utah. The Utes add safeties from Corner Canyon, Diesel Dart, from Syracuse, Caleb Hall. For BYU, they get a corner from Kell High School in Georgia, Kimoni Adams, San Clemente athlete Jackson Rex, and Lake Braddock's James Thorley, a kicker and punter from Virginia. Now, do we care about commitments when it's verbal commitments and they can still flip before they sign, and then once they sign, they can transfer? And we've seen kids come to school for spring football and be gone almost immediately.
Well, I think everything matters, but you can't count on anything. And so you have to recruit the traditional way, and you also have to recruit the non-traditional way, which has become the traditional way with the transfer portal. So you have no idea who any of these kids are in terms of where they can fit in and be an immediate impact player or a program player who's going to have to develop a year or two. And if you're coming from Georgia and you're not getting on the field immediately, is that someplace you want to be? Now, BYU's done a good job at retaining players. I got to, and for Utah too, for that matter. But
But it's always a concern.
Bring guys along. It's just, but you can't downplay it. You have to keep it in perspective and think, okay, that's good. You got a talented kid who's coming.
Well, and the thing on Diesel Dart, legacy guy, his dad Brandon played at Utah, and then Rex, that's Byron Rex's nephew. He's cousins with Preston and Isaac, so family legacies obviously help out in that regard.
If they're playing and they want to be there, but I'm not counting on freshmen. If I'm counting on freshmen, I'm in a developing situation. These programs are built
looking to win now. Looking to win now.
And they're still a year away anyway. We're literally a year away from being on campus.
A year away from being that freshman.
And then
if they're a
year away from that kid.
Yeah.
And if they're mission bound, they're 3 years away.
And then they're 3 or 4, and I'll be dead by then.
By then, we'll know whether these draft picks tonight are going to be awesome or not. We spent a lot of time talking about tonight's draft. You got any clarity now?
I do. The clarity is the foggy.
You're more sure than ever that you don't know for sure. Stun, amaze me, shock me, wow me. We're making all these assumptions / predictions based on there won't be any trades, which I don't think there will be, but you never know.
Well, I don't know at the top. And the trades at the bottom won't matter, or beyond 3. I think that for the Jazz, they have scenario ABC. If DeBonta goes 1, they've got this. If Peterson goes 1, they've got this. If Boozer goes 1, they got this. And that's the cool thing. They don't need to have anything more than 3. Unless Memphis finds a way to move up, or whoever it might be. I just picked Memphis as an example because they're 3. That could change things. But even at that,
if you have your top 3 figured out, you would know, even if you traded down a spot, which we don't anticipate, but we don't really know what the heck's going to happen.
Yeah. So they're prepared for these potential scenarios. The good thing is drafting second, you don't have to come up with a whole bunch of stuff. You can really zero in on the 3 guys that you believe are a cut above, or 4 if you want to go Wilson or whomever. And you've done all, because you've had 6 weeks now with this draft order to be prepared for all these possibilities. So I don't think that they would be, I think there's a slim chance that they would be taken by surprise. Because something could happen if somebody makes some crazy offer or what have you. And so then they just go. And then they're ready to go, and they make a pivot. It's an easy pivot drafting second. They're in a good spot.
Fewer permutations.
And it's not like, well, the number 1 player is going to be 50% better than the number 2 player. I don't see that.
Wouldn't think so.
So they're in a good enough position to get a very good talent, and that's what matters the most, right? That's exactly what matters, and they're right there where they might want to be 1, but they're where they need to be. They got there. The luck broke their way, and the planning broke their way because they planned to lose, and they did, and then they got a little lucky, and here we are.
Starting at 2 o'clock, Jake on remote. JCW's in South Jordan, and Ben will join him from 2 to 4 from New York. Ben joined us earlier this morning. You can listen to that conversation wherever you get your podcasts. It's available at KSLSports.com. It's available at YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to it. Ben and Jake 2 to 4. Then Ben will get off the phone and head over to the arena. PK and I'll be there 4 to 6. And then the draft to start at 6. And the coach, Tim Lacombe, and Scotty G will be there with Jake for the draft.
Steve Cleveland, I think, too.
Oh, Steve Cleveland, you're right, yeah. JCW's in South Jordan.
And then it's
No Steve?
Oh.
Okay.
Well, they changed that.
All right.
The original plan had his name on it. And then and then the good thing is that we're not laboring to go through all this. with the 12th pick.
The draft starts at 6, and the Jazz should be drafting between 7:30 and 8.
That's torture, man.
No. The draft will start at 6. There'll be a little talk and yak fest. There probably won't be a pick till 6:10 or 6:15, and then the Jazz will make the second pick, and by 6:30, the interviews will begin.
I know. That's what's awesome. And then all the speculation. Did they do this right? Is it that right? You know, blah, blah, blah. That's the fun part of it. And I think the NBA draft is the most fun of all the drafts.
Because we've seen the players and we know more about them.
Yeah. Even if it's just 1 year. And then having DeBonsa there just adds even way more. And to an extent, Boozer's son, which from my perspective, being able to watch Cameron Boozer, I've probably seen him play in 40 games that go beyond Duke. Because he's been on television.
A lot.
Yeah.
He's playing in events, games, tournaments, whatever.
Right. Yeah. And then having DeBonsa, where we've seen him in person many, many times, on television a ton of times. This is fun. And everybody's got an opinion. And
at July 4, 6, and 7, presumably, we'll get to see whoever they pick play at the Huntsman Center. Summer League. Get our first taste of it.
Yeah, for what that's worth.
Yep.
But it's fine.
It's all we've got, so we'll take it.
But you can't go extreme either way.
No.
I've seen enough of these guys to know that
they're going to look good in Summer League.
Yeah, and I'm expecting them to show well, and then Vegas. The good thing about the Salt Lake Summer League is it's quick. The Vegas team seems to linger on and on. And it's like, I got to get on with summer here. I'm running out of time.
The Hawks are coming, the Grizzlies are coming, and the Thunder are coming. So whoever the Grizzlies get at number 3 will be here as well.
Well, it'll probably be one of the 3, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. So that's cool. They'll be here, and people get into that. Sure, get into it. And especially this year to see this top stud. I don't know that he plays all 3.
They seem to be shying away from the back-to-backs.
They do, yeah.
So I would think the 4th and then either the 6th or 7th. And maybe depending on who they're playing, and we'll see.
Well, yeah, go to the first one, and it's in the afternoon, obviously, July 4th, and the celebrations in the evening. So I would say for those folks, the 4th be with you, and you be with the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
I think the most important thing is that there'll be a ton of gazillion talent in the Huntsman Center.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was an excellent point.
A ton of a gazillion.
Hey, sometimes vinyl has a scratch and the needle skips. Ton of gazillion. That's it. Yes, Yak, I like it.
Yeah, that's what's great about this job is that when 10 o'clock comes, it may be a memorable day that will live on. Mm-hmm. You know, who put the D in Alice? You don't sound like a Debbie. Mm-hmm. You don't know when it's coming or if it's coming, but there's always a possibility that it is.
You don't really sound like a Debbie.
Well, I did one for a long time.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
How dare you?
I know. That's where you need the backup sound effect.
Why does she not sound like a Debbie?
Deep voice. Deep talker. It's a Seinfeld episode.
Let me hear that again, Yak.
You don't really sound like a Debbie.
Well, I did one for a long time.
All right.
That is not a male voice.
There, but if you listened earlier in the conversation, which is edited out for lack of context. Yeah, that's good, Yak. Nice. Yak's on his sound effects game today.
That sounds like a female voice.
Well, later.
I agree, but
nobody asked you. I agree, but just finish the sentence. Nobody asked me.
That was hypocritical.
Stand in there, look at your Mountain View media guide, and figure out how good the Bruins are going to be this fall.
Mountain View media guide? What are you talking about?
I don't understand why you thought that lady had a male-oriented voice.
On further reflection, neither do I. But at the time, I just have gender identification issues.
Apparently.
Apparently, yes. Apparently I do.
Well, in the moment, things sometimes are unexplainable that become clear with reflection.
No, I'm too into myself to be annoyed by other people. Manny Machado breaking out of the slump. You buying it, or he had to get better? There was nowhere to go but up. He's still not going to be himself or what he was. He's 34.
I don't think 34, though, is necessarily the end
The end of the
line.
road either.
No.
He could be hitting 25 home runs instead of 35.
You know, and for him and them,
yeah.
what's he going to do in the playoff?
Excellent question.
Because if he does well in the postseason, then who cares?
Well, first off, they need to get to the playoffs.
I know, but I think there's a good chance they get there.
There is a good chance, but there's also a decent chance they don't. They're 3 games over 500. They're right in the middle of the wild card race.
And I'm okay.
I mean, like if the playoffs started today, they're tied with the Cubs for the last one, and now they do tiebreakers. They don't do the playoff like they used to do anymore. And actually, they're tied with Washington too. So anything could happen.
I mean, it could, but
right.
If they get there, then he can have a big postseason. That's really all that matters.
The commissioner has to be loving this. There's 8 teams fighting for 3 wild card berths, and they're separated by 4 games in late June. So who knows?
That's what they wanted.
It is what they wanted. And that gives you 3 chances to get in and 5 chances to miss. And where do you stack up on all of that?
In the final season, they have drama. And
in the final season?
Yeah. Before there's a huge break.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. The final season referencing to 2027 might not happen from a Major League Baseball perspective.
Right.
There might be minor league games, there'll be college games and high school games, but MLB.
I'd be shocked if they played 162.
I would too. But if they play 140, you won't like it, but at least you'll be able to endure it. But there is the thought that they'll play 60 or less.
I know.
And if they don't play 60, are they even going to play at all?
Right. And then they screw it up.
Yep. Manny Machado homer. Padres beat the Braves 1-0. And the Dodgers now pass the Braves, best record in the National League. Dodgers get a home run in the first from Shohei. Shohei Ohtani goes deep on the second pitch of the game. And Freddie Freeman breaks a 1-1 tie with a solo homer. They win 2-1. And they get Eric Lauer, 6 no-hit innings out of the bullpen. That doesn't happen very often.
No.
And yet he delivered.
Unbelievable.
And they win.
Shocking that they win.
SEC takes home the baseball title. They're the new Conference of Champions, PK. Oklahoma beats North Carolina 13-2 to win the College Baseball World Series title. First time they've done it since 94.
Yeah.
They win 2 out of 3. And the third game is a blowout. It's remarkable because they were like 4-9 in the last 13 conference games, and then they got hot, and here they are, champs.
See, get in the playoffs. That's what determines.
Yep, it really is. Bees and Isotopes in Albuquerque tonight. We'll have draft coverage on 97.5 and 1280 The Zone, so Tony Parks will have the Bees game on 102.7 HD2 and a KSL Extreme. All right, when we come back, your feedback next. The poll question, we'll update it. Go to Twitter and vote. David DJ James, who do Jazz fans want the Jazz to take with the first pick? It's been very close between DP and AJ. We'll get to that next with your feedback. Stay with us. Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe Wednesday from 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Question of the morning. Darren Peterson says he met with the Jazz over weekend. Does that calm your fears? Dave, nobody had any fears except for crybaby whiny fans and David Locke. Wow. That is harsh.
Well, the question was promoted for the fans to answer. So to say except the fans, that's who the question was directed to.
Not except the fans, except for the crybaby whiny fans. Not the fans, not the crybaby fans, not the whiny fans, the crybaby whiny fans. It's like a Venn diagram. Here's a circle of fans.
And I love Venn diagrams. I think that the question was directed at crybaby whiny fans, and we know there's a ton of gazillion crybaby whiny fans.
Utah Utes at Discover Salt Lake City. It calms my media-created fears that never existed. Travis, I never had any fears. Most Jazz fans know the media makes up a fake narrative.
Then why did they meet with him?
I don't know, man. It's media making up a narrative.
Why did he meet with them?
To dispense with the media narrative. It's all media narratives,
Yeah,
PK.
if you worry about the media at that level. I mean, they clearly thought it was important enough to do it. It's not like they just bumped into him at the 7-Eleven.
Yeah. You get a big gulp? Yeah. No, I'm in for the frozen ice cream candy bars. We got a minute to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just leave them in there so they don't melt.
Yeah, let's go outside.
Stand in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Breathe the fumes from the pickup trucks
clearly
pulling
it
in
was
and out.
set up.
Yes.
So there had to be a point to doing
The
it.
Jazz have questions. They want to spend time with him and see what he's like.
Clearly they did.
If we're going to make a multi-million-dollar investment, could we at least get to know you a little bit?
Yeah.
Or it's a media narrative. And
if the
crybaby whiny
Wizards
fans
take
who buy into it.
Bonsa and then the Jazz take Boozer, well, then that could tell you something, that they didn't like what they heard.
They didn't get the answers they wanted/needed.
So they had fears.
Doug, yep. Interviews yesterday. I felt like he did really good. Bring him in. Playoffs, here we come. Doug's ready to roll. Let's roll.
Oh, I see that's a plausible scenario.
Los Utah Jazz at Utah Jazz Espanol. Fears, 0. He made a jersey up.
That's
nice.
not bad.
Yeah. Although with that, it looks like the BYU bib jerseys from the Hans Olsen 1999-2000 time period.
That was a mistake.
That was they pivoted quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Good decision. Yeah, the bibs aren't working for us. Next.
Yeah, I'm not a uniform guy, but I know that didn't work.
That didn't work.
No.
Yeah. Tussed Up says, I never had any fears. He was just told he's going number 1, so working out in Utah could only hurt him.
Then why did he meet with him?
New information. He was told he's not going number 1. Or he believed it. I think it was more he's trying to shape the storyline, and now he's like, I don't know if that's working. Let's go ahead and meet with him. Just in case I fall to 2, make sure I don't fall to 3.
Yeah, right, exactly. And if you're confident in the way you present yourself, then meet with him.
Which he does seem to be. And, Ben, who was there, you're in the room, you get a feel for it and that. And he said he was pretty, he presented himself well. He was chatting
But he gave
people
short
up.
answers.
Yeah, agree with that. I thought they all did, actually. But I also think it's the format. There's no real storyline in interview. It's just rando.
Yeah, but I think that's the way it is now most of the time with these professionals.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think that was necessarily an unusual situation.
Yeah. And the difference being most of the time when they're being interviewed, they're talking about a game that just concluded.
Yeah.
And here they were asking you, what's your favorite emoji? What rapper one of them liked to listen to? Drake. Janice STFU is on Drake's new Iceman album, as you know.
All right.
Yeah. I think STFU stands for Shut the Fetch Up.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, Janice. I guess she's talking too much. I don't know.
You're running it, Janice. Who will be the best player in the 2026 NBA draft? The vote is getting closer. 45% of the vote for AJ, 44% of the vote for DP. Booze with 7.5% of the vote, and other 3.7. 134 votes in. You can vote. Twitter, David DJ James. Ute Volunteer 89 says, Acuff had the stuff and will end up being the best player. Wilson will be the second best player. So the top 3 are all going to miss?
No. They could be really good players, but somebody could be better.
But when we redraft, 1, 2 will come from outside the top 3.
Well, that depends.
Well, if Acuff will end up being the best player, Wilson will be second.
Yeah, but so what? If you're a really good player and in your second year you're getting the Jazz be a part of the rotation and you're getting into conference final and then you build from there, who really cares? That's like saying Olajuwon Jordan. Okay, fine. But Olajuwon was really, really good.
That he was.
Yeah.
If the Jazz draft somebody who is the best player on a back-to-back championship set of teams,
that's good enough, man.
That is great.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Even if A-Cup goes to Sacramento and wins 6 titles.
Okay, but that's
There's things that have never been said in a sentence
that's
before.
highly unlikely.
Right.
As we would have said in 1980, whenever Jordan came out,
Mm-hmm.
was it 83, 84, 85? When was that? Whenever it was, who would have thought, okay, he's going to lead them to 6 titles, 3 three-peats, and the only reason why it wasn't more was because he went away.
2 three-peats. You said 3 three-peats.
Right.
That would have been awesome. That would have been 9 titles.
I meant
Do it again.
It was 3 comma repeats. I mean,
okay.
they had 3. It was 2 times. I get it, but the 3.
They 3 in a row repeated.
Yeah. And who would have said that? No one would have said that.
That's a ton of bajillion right there.
Would you have said that coming in?
No, nobody said that coming in. We were there. Nobody said that. This guy's going to win 6 titles. Literally, no one's ever said 6 titles.
Right. But yet he did. Good for him.
LeBron had the highest expectations. There was definitely expectations for multiple titles out of LeBron, and he's delivered. It's 4.
Mm-hmm. That's plenty good enough.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, we're all done. Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe are next. We'll see you again from 4 to 6 when we join Jake at JCW's.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.